Hey, Win. Buddy, do you want to be the intro cat today? Huh? You too busy sleeping? Yeah? Yeah, okay. That's fair enough. How's it going, everyone? My name is Reef James. I'm a network engineer from Australia, and today we're going to be getting learned together how to set up a Helium miner. Specifically, I have the sensecap M1. We're just going to take you through kind of the best practices setting it up to make sure you have it set up correctly from the beginning, so it's not a headache, right? That's the goal. You just want this thing to work. At least I just want it to work, right? Let's do it. All right, here it is. Package got a little bit dinged up in the mail, but that's no worries. That's what the padding is for. So we have some lovely little instructions that we don't need. Into the good stuff. Got our little antenna, stock antenna, Epic, the miner itself, Ethernet port, USB-C, power, 5 volts, 3 amps, little reset button, and then the RF connector, which looks like a reverse polarity SMA connector. And you can actually, if you see in there, I don't know if you can see, but you can see the USB ports here. These things are literally just a Raspberry Pi with a LoRaWAN hat on them. Man, the manufacturers are making a mint selling these things, I tell you. Anyway, and power adapter, and yep, 5 volts, 3 amps, as it says on the back of the actual miner itself. Cool beans. This is what we got. All right, so let's set this thing up. The first thing that you want to do before you power the unit on is just screw the antenna in. And the reason that you want to do that is because it's just kind of best practice. So if this antenna was to communicate, like beacon or transmit anything out of the antenna, if the miner wants to transmit and it tries to transmit and there's no antenna attached, well, it shoots that power out and goes, oh, there's nothing, I can't, there's no antenna, I can't transmit. And that power gets reflected back into the transceiver and yeah, it can damage it. So RF, best practice in general, don't power up the thing, don't use it without the antenna on. You can damage it. You probably won't, but better to be safe, right? So we got our antenna on. You just want to snug it down. You don't want to, break it like you're trying to bloody bust a lug nut off a tire. We plug her in. In the meantime, grab your phone. You want to download the Helium app. And when you first boot up this app, just sign in there. When you first boot up this app, you're going to get a 12 random words, right? And that's the seed to your Helium miner wallet, right? You really, really, really want to not lose these words. Okay, so store them in a very, very secure place. Make sure that you don't. Make sure that no one can get a hold of these words, because if they can steal all of your crypto. Right? Not good. Look into steganography. Basically, you can hide. Google it and you'll see. You can hide things. It's a good way to do it. Anyway, you can do it however you want. Just make sure you don't lose these words. Make sure you don't get these words stolen. Don't work on a computer. If you've downloaded any dodgy software on your computer, don't go writing them down on that computer, because if there's a keylogger, you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? Just be careful. Be very, very, very careful, okay? So we've plugged in the antenna. We've powered it on. We've stored our words safely, okay? Now, what we need to do is make this thing pair. So to put it in pairing mode, click and hold this little button here. For a few seconds, it should, there you go. It's changed its blinky. So this is in pairing mode. Now, we want to get into the app, go to hotspots. We want to add our hotspot. Well, we have the sensecap, so let's just sensecap M1, awesome. Placing your hotspot, yep, epic. Attach the SMA connector, blah, 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 blah. There you go. So we're going to scan for it, turn our location on. So what it's doing now is connecting to the hotspot via Bluetooth. Once we're connected via Bluetooth, we can connect the hotspot to our home network. Error, the device was disconnected. All right, so yeah, I was having issues connecting this thing to the miner via Bluetooth, and apparently newer models of Samsung phones people have been having troubles. So it said anything S9 plus, so this is like the S21, and couldn't connect it. So that's a bit fucked. SenseCap, fix your fucking shit. I've got an older Samsung phone here, and let's just see if we can connect with that. So yeah, it wants to be on slow blink mode. If it's blinking fast, hold the button down for 5 seconds. So we're on slow blink mode. Let's go hotspots, add a hotspot. SenseCap, bugger off. Scan, yes, yes. Let's hope that this one works. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit dodgy that doesn't work with new Samsung phones. Okay, well, all right. Well, that worked. So connect to the Wi-Fi. All right. So I just dropped in the password and we're connecting to the Wi-Fi. Set a hotspot location. Cool. So you can set the location here just by moving the little pin around, you know, just usual stuff. So something that you might want to consider is if you're right on the corner of a hex, like right on the edge, and there's someone in your hex and the hex just there doesn't have anyone in it, you know, you might want to just put yourself over there. I'm talking like, you know, 50 meters, like don't go putting yourself on the other side of the bloody world, because yeah, you'll get flagged as invalid and then you'll be having drama. So ballpark, let's just set it here. I mean, I'm moving in like a week, so I don't really mind. If you guys know where I'm at right now. So you want to make sure you select your correct model here. So let's go all the way down to sensecap. And we want to make sure that we are on 915, at least for me. I'm in Australia. I'm definitely not on the EU band. We're on the 915 band. We're just using the stock antenna, and it's at a height of whatever. I'm not setting this up properly now because I'm moving in like a week. I've got a whole video on getting these correct antenna parameters set up, so go to my videos and you can see that. If you're running like a big antenna and you've got your antenna mounted up on the roof, you want to take note of this. But for me, this is just a temporary setup. When I set this thing up properly, then I'm going to do all this properly. But for now, we're just doing this, the dodgy setup. I'll have to pay that $10 fee to transfer my hotspot in like a week or so, but I'm just doing this for the funds. Gonna have it set up with the little stodgy antenna for a while. This can take a few minutes. Okay, well, let's wait. All right, so I just restarted the app and it seemed to, it seems to have worked. So if you're getting that error where it's trying to register for ages, just let it go for 5 minutes and then restart your app. All right, so we've connected our mining app to the miner itself. We've set up the Helium app. There was a bit of a drama there with sensecap having issues connecting to the new Samsung phones, but it is what it is. Sensecap, probably fix your shit. A lot of people have, the new Samsung phones. Fix your shit. Anyway, we're going to jump into the computer here and kind of set up the back end so we just know that everything's going to work correctly and reliably, right? So I'm just going to run through quickly what we're actually going to be doing so you know what's going on. So the end goal is to port forward, right? So we want to open up port 44158 on our Helium miner itself. So we need to do a few things to do that, right? We need to, first we need to know our device's name, like what is it on the network? What is its IP address, right? So we need to find that. And then when we know that, we need to port forward 44158 on that IP address. And another thing we need to do is set up our DHCP settings. And basically, without going into super duper depth, the DHCP protocol is basically what assigns, literally is what assigns IP addresses to the devices that connect to your network, right? So a Wi-Fi device connects to your modem, and then the DHCP says, hey, you get that IP address, you get that IP address, that's your name on the network, that's your name on the network. That's how that works, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get the MAC address, the hardware address of our sensecap device. That doesn't change, that's always the same. And we're going to say, hey, if this MAC address connects to our Wi-Fi network, we're always going to assign it this IP address, right? And that's the IP address that we're going to open the ports on. If we don't do that, if we don't set up the DHCP settings, and you just port forward, it'll work, right? But if your modem, if your Wi-Fi modem turns off, if you lose power or whatever, and it turns off and turns back on, and your device, your sensecap, reconnects to your network, it might be assigned another IP address, right? And that IP address, it won't be forwarded. 44158, the port won't be forwarded on that IP address. So that's why we need to do this. So let's get into it. So on the computer here, we want to open up command prompt. So I'm just going to type in CMD. And we want to put in IP config. If you're on Linux or Mac, it's ifconfig, and you'll get the same information. So I'm connected, my laptop is connected to the network with wireless, right? A Wi-Fi adapter. So we want to get our default gateway here, 192.168.0.1, and pop that into our browser. We want to log into our Wi-Fi modem. If you're connected via Ethernet, it'll be your Ethernet adapter, and it'll have the default gateway there as well, but it'll be the same. So what we want to do is open up our web browser. We want to go to 192.168.0.1. I already had that in there. I've logged into my modem before. And now you need to log into your actual modem. You need a user and password. Default for most is admin. My one is admin, and then the password is not admin because I've changed it. But you just want to look at the book that come with your modem, and you'll have the password there. If not, Google it or figure it out, because you need to log in. So we're logging in, and I put in the wrong password. So first things first is we need to know what our device is called on the network, like what our sensecap IP address is, right? So let's go to the advanced settings, and we want to go to devices. Now your modem is going to be different, okay? If any of the steps here aren't the same, you just want to Google it specific to your device, your modem, and you'll figure it out. But if you just follow the overall steps that we're covering in this video, you'll be fine, okay? So I'm going to try and make the steps as clear as possible so you can translate them into your device, okay? So step one is we're trying to find the IP address of our sensecap miner, okay? So what we need to do is look at the back of your device and you'll see a MAC address, Wi-Fi MAC address and Ethernet MAC address. Well, I'm connected via Wi-Fi, okay? So I'm going to take a mental note of that. It ends in 86B8, all right? So I'm looking here. These are the MAC addresses, okay? I'm looking for 86B8. B8, no, that's not it. That's F9B8, 86B8, there it is. So, and it's called sensecap, right? Awesome. I'm going to take note of that. I'm going to copy that MAC address. All right. And here's the IP address as well. So you want to take note of that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this stuff into a new tab here, just so I have it. So first thing we want to do is set up DHCP, static routing. Okay. So we copy our MAC address and go back. And now again, yours will very likely be different, okay? So I'm gonna click local network here. I can see DHCP, so I'm gonna click that. And hopefully it's in here. Cool, so static leases. This is going to be it here. So I'm gonna add a new static lease. Okay, host name, I'm just gonna call it, there it is, sensecap. MAC address. Now, okay, I didn't need to copy it because it shows them all. 86B8, and the IP address, it was this. So don't be confused by this big thing here. All this is here is that's your IPv4 address, and this is your IPv6. Don't worry about your IPv6. Let's just copy the IPv4. It'll be the same format as your default gateway, like 192.168.0. something. Yours might be different, but it'll be in the same theme. If that makes sense, that makes sense. If you're seeing something different, you'll see the similarities here. All right. Then you want to paste your IP address in there and click add. Cool, so it's worked. So again, just to recap, what we've done here is we've gone and said, hey, if this device with this MAC address connects to our network, we are always going to assign it this IP address. That's what we want. Now we close out of this, and now we need a port forward. So again, yours is going to be different, but if it's too different that you can't easily figure it out yourself, just Google it and you'll figure it out. So mine is in WAN settings for my specific modem. So what we want to do here is add a new IPv4 port mapping, and we just give it a name, sensecap, there it is. Protocol, you want to choose TCP. We're not going to go into TCP versus UDP and what they are. They're four different things, but TCP is what we want. So we want to port forward 44158, pretty sure, 44158. And then we want the IP address of sensecap, boom, there it is. So if we add that, there it is. So it should work now. So once you've done this, your device should just work. If your modem turns off, you're always going to get the same IP address that you forwarded the ports on. So yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want to do. today's tomorrow, and I realized that I forgot one thing. If you have problems with your device syncing to the network, like you'll get a status that says syncing, jump onto your web browser and put in the IP address of your miner. So mine was 192.168.0.58. And what you're doing is it's kind of like you're logging into your home modem, but you're logging into the hotspot, right? When you put that into your web browser, you're gonna make sure you're connected to the same network, so you can't be like, if you can do it from your phone, but if you're doing it from your phone, you can't be on, the 4G or 5G or whatever. You need to be on your home network, the same as the hotspot. And it'll ask you for two things, username and password. Username is the CPU ID on the back of the device itself, and the password, it's the serial number of the device. You'll log in and then you'll click Turbo Sync down the bottom. And that just basically brings your device up to sync on the blockchain. It should do this by itself if you just leave it plugged in, and it might take a while, sometimes up to like 5 days for some people. Mine's been on for over 24 hours and it's not synced yet. But when I go to Turbo Sync, it tells me that I'm already too close to the blockchain, so it's not allowing me to turbo sync, so I just have to wait. But it's worth a shot. Do the turbo sync first when you first plug it in. It might make your sync time shorter. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. If I've helped you out at all, just give me a little like. Appreciate that always. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And if you think that they're maybe like a bit too big of questions, or it might kind of be a bit of a conversation, maybe jump in the Discord. All right, I've made a Discord. The link is in the description of the video. I'm happy to answer any questions there. Just post them in there. I've made some channels, and yeah, we'll get you on your way. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate you. Peace.